You're not going to believe what we've got today, so get comfortable, smash that like button, and let's dive straight into it. Because what happened after the bye week lit a fire a lot of people had already tried to put out, and it wasn't just the final score. There's a mindset detail that can change everything in January. There's also a new signal from our quarterback that's splitting the Niner gang. Real growth or just a mirage? And while the fan base argues stars and stats, the next opponent just confirmed a decision that feels like it was ripped out of a movie. Do you trust where this is heading, 49ers faithful? You saw the score and thought, all right, beat up on a bad team. But the real danger of that 37-24 win over the Titans is what it revealed underneath the surface. The offense came out of the bye confident, healthy, and carrying a trait that, late December, separates a true contender from a team that just talks loud. Nobody in this group is chasing numbers. The ball is going where the defense allows it to go. And that, my friend, is poison for any opponent once the games tighten up and every mistake gets punished. Brock Purdy was the thermometer for that mentality. Clean reads, accurate throws, calm feet. But what stuck with me was his message after the game. He's not obsessed with forcing the ball to someone just because a certain guy hasn't touched it in a while. He works the progression, trusts what Kyle Shanahan calls, and takes what the defense gives him. Sounds simple, right? But in an NFL full of ego, that becomes a hidden weapon. Because when your offense doesn't leave clues, the defense is always a step late. Who do you even key on if the threat changes every snap? And the signs were everywhere. Touchdown from Christian McCaffrey, touchdown from George Kittle, touchdowns from Juwan Jennings, Eddie Pinheiro staying perfect on his field goals, everybody doing their job, no forced hero ball. And then comes the good problem. If this offense is basically at full strength, some key names are going to have quieter games, fewer touches, less time with the ball. That's not a crisis. That's luxury. That's the kind of dilemma coaches dream about. Who's going to show up today instead of who's going to save us? Now, we're not going to pretend everything's flawless. Giving up 24 points to a 2-win team is a neon warning sign for January. But at the same time, the NFL projecting a 98% chance to make the playoffs isn't a compliment, it's a message. The path is open and the locker room is buying in. And what should worry the NFC is that the confidence is rising at the right time, even with all the off-field noise around Brandon Ayuk. The offense still feels tight, connected, like a group that's been through it together and doesn't crack. Because the real test is already waiting. Colts, Bears, Seahawks, teams that punish mistakes and demand maturity. That's where discipline and team over everything becomes your shield against pressure. So let me throw this at you. Do you want an offense with one inflated superstar, or an offense where anybody can ruin your day on any drive? And that's where things get spicy, because this win wasn't just about the W. It raised the question every red and gold fan has been chewing on. Is Brock Purdy finally becoming the guy who wins games when Plan A breaks? Or did we just run into a defense that can't scare anybody? I know, it's uncomfortable to say out loud, but the playoffs don't forgive delusion. Before the bye, Purdy was living in a dangerous paradox. He was extending plays more than almost anyone in the league, but the numbers suggested that when he tried to create outside the structure, it often cost him. Some people watched and saw stubbornness. Others saw courage. The truth is, there were stretches where he actually hit deep shots accurately. Things just weren't turning his way. Timing off. A receiver slipping. A bounce that changes the whole story. One tiny detail and the narrative flips. But against Tennessee, we got a different version. And this isn't just fan hype. When he held the ball for 2.5 seconds or longer, he was 9 for 10 for 111 yards. That's efficiency with pressure closing in. And he added 44 rushing yards, using his legs as a tool, not as panic. That dimension simply hasn't shown up consistently this season. And when that shows up, defenses have to respect the scramble and the off-script threat, which makes protection easier, opens windows downfield, and turns broken plays into chunk gains. Here's the tension, though. On the other side, our defense hasn't looked like a brick wall that locks the door and throws away the key. Giving up 24 to the Titans should set off alarms, because in January, you're not shutting down everyone. So the offense has to score at a pace that makes opponents uncomfortable. And for that, scheme alone isn't enough. You need playmakers, and you need Purdy to be one of them. The good news is George Kittle, Juwan Jennings, and Ricky Pearsall all look healthy and operating at full speed. But what's going to decide this team's ceiling is what happens next, against defenses better than Tennessee. That's when we find out. Was it just weak competition? Or did Purdy actually flip the switch at the perfect time? And be real with me. Do you want a safe, conservative Purdy? Or do you want an aggressive Purdy who's willing to take risks to win big? Because speaking of stepping up, Sunday gave us another reality check. When the run game isn't rolling and the defense is shaky, the passing attack has to become the hammer. And that's exactly what happened. The first half was the kind of horror movie only 49ers fans know how to sit through. A 2-12 team hanging around, and you can feel the game begging for chaos at Levi's Stadium. But then came the response good teams give, efficiency. 7 scores on 8 offensive drives. That's not luck, that's execution. And the detail that should make you sit up, Christian McCaffrey and Brian Robinson were both stuck at just over 3 yards per carry. The ground game wasn't opening up lanes. The defense wasn't suffocating Tennessee either. So who won the game? The air. And when the air decides it, the guys who handle pressure show up. Juwan Jennings was a tone setter. 3 catches, only 3, but 2 were touchdowns. That's cold-blooded. That's give me one chance and I'll cash it. And there's something beautiful in the patience. His first target was incomplete. Then on the very next play, he's in the end zone to open the scoring. Then, early in the third quarter, when it was time to stomp out any hope on the other sideline, he wins that race to the pylon like he's saying, "You're still here? Not anymore." Then you look at George Kittle and you remember why he's the emotional engine of this team. 8 catches on 9 targets, the steady outlet Purdy could trust, and that classic Kittle whack, turning short throws into back-breaking gains. And that touchdown after a long drive? That's the kind of punch that drains a defense from the inside. A 15-play drive doesn't just score, it sends a message. You can't get us off the field. And Purdy earned the top star, not just with his arm, but with the whole package. That 23-yard scramble, the longest run of the 49ers season, changes how a defense plays you the rest of the day. He finished 23 of 30 for 295 yards and 3 touchdowns. And the real separator was third down. Third down is where the soul of a playoff offense lives. That's where you either fold or you prove you're built for January. And the 3 stars tracking adds fuel to the debate. McCaffrey leading the season points, Fred Warner right there, Kittle climbing. So let's stir it up. Who's the real heartbeat of this team right now? The talent that stresses every defense, the leader who sets the tone on defense, or the guy who turns chaos into first downs? Because while we're still arguing that, the next matchup comes with a twist that sounds like a joke, but it's very real. Here's the twist. The next opponent just officially confirmed who will be under center. Yes, Phillip Rivers. Head coach Shane Steichen confirmed on Monday that Rivers will make the start again after Daniel Jones went down with a season-ending Achilles injury. 44 years old, coming out of retirement, and now with another week to prepare for the red and gold. It sounds like a movie script, but it's happening. And here's the danger. Nobody lasts in the NFL that long by being just a guy. Rivers can beat you with his brain. Pre-snap reads, protection calls, route adjustments, quick decisions. He's not going to extend plays like Purdy. The mobility is basically gone. But arm strength and pocket toughness don't always disappear overnight, especially when you've been elite for a long time. Even Shanahan pointed that out. The legs fade fast, but the arm and the experience can still be there. At the same time, I see an opportunity. In his first game back against Seattle, Rivers went 18 of 27 for 120 yards with 1 touchdown and 1 interception. Not explosive. A lot of short stuff. That screams patience game. He's going to try to wear you down, bait a missed tackle, force you to defend the entire field in small bites. If our defense gives him easy access, he'll stack first downs until the game becomes an emotional trap. So the key is simple, but brutal. Interior pressure and disguised coverage. Rivers is a classic pocket passer. Collapse the middle, get bodies in his line of sight, make him throw with people in his face, and turnovers become way more realistic. Show one coverage and spin to another at the snap, and you might get him to force a ball into a window that isn't there. But if the rush doesn't get home, and we play everything straight, he'll find soft spots all day. And then those 24 points we gave up to Tennessee look even scarier. And context matters. The Colts are coming off a painful 18-16 loss to the Seahawks, losing it late, and they're 8-6 fighting for their lives. This won't be a casual game. It's going to feel like playoff football, and I want the Niner gang locked in. Respect the name, attack the limitations. Because if we set the tempo early and put Rivers in 3rd and long, the entire game changes. So let me ask you, would you rather face a wild, unpredictable quarterback or a veteran who knows exactly where to hurt you? At the end of the day, this stretch is about identity, an offense without ego, a quarterback pushing into a new gear, stars delivering when it matters, and a next game that demands cool heads and clean execution. None of it guarantees a trophy, but all of it builds real confidence. We're entering the part of the season where every detail becomes an argument, every snap becomes a memory, and every decision carries weight. Now I want it from you. Does this team give you January confidence, or do you still feel like something's missing? If you enjoyed this, hit like, subscribe, and drop your take in the comments. The debate is just getting started.